following podcast is being brought to you by the Defy Life Podcast Network.
This week on the Defy Life Podcast, the guys welcome a special guest as they discuss the smack heard around the world and the Carolina Panthers offseason. They also answer a listener question and discuss this week's sports history. On to the show. Let's get it. Welcome to the Defy Life Podcast, powered by the Defy Life Podcast Network. This episode is brought to you by Bud Bottles, home of the Bud Bottle and the Bud Freshener. Please visit budbottles.com for your odor eliminating needs. This is episode 213. Y'all come on in, wipe your feet, close the door behind you. I'm your host, J.R. Glymph, joined as always by my wonderful co-host, Alvin Glymph, and a special guest for you all this week, and a familiar one. Our main man, Money, Gerald. You all know him and love him. Al, what's good?
Yo, I'm trying to hold back my excitement, so I'm gonna keep it reserved and just allow the energy to just flow and kind of, throughout the show, because this is like an old reunion. This is awesome, man, and so I'm feeling good, doing good. It's great to be on this show and looking forward to this conversation tonight.
No doubt, man. All we missing is Pooh, of course. Pooh will join us again next week. He has some family commitments. But yeah, all we missing is Pooh, Yosh, West Coast, Hot Rod. But we got Money. What's good, Money?
We got Money.
Yo.
What's
y'all
good,
already
fam?
know what I'm gonna say.
Tell them
man.
what it is. Tell them what it is.
Y'all already know what I'm gonna say, man.
What
Yo,
it be?
it's good to be here, baby. It's 2 for Tuesdays. Y'all already know who it is. It's your boy M. Dot, the real himself. The real is back. What's good, Defy Life?
What's good, my brother? It is absolutely good to hear that intro. And because if you don't love you, who the hell will? Man, I love that intro. Damn right. Money, man, welcome back, sir.
Hey, welcome, man. Actually, yeah, welcome to me. You know what? It feels good to be here. I'm sitting here, man. I got my Defy Life gear on, my Defy Life hat. I got my Defy Life mug. I'm drinking Defy Life juice. Man, I'm hyped today, man. I was very excited to get the invite, man. So appreciate it to both of you guys. Man, it's good to be back, man. And I feel like I'm about to come in here and kick my feet up, man.
No, man, do that. When I reached out, I was like, "Hey, big head," and I was like, "Hey, big head." He was like, "Hey, what you doing? Everything all right?" I was like, "Yeah, everything cool. Just reaching out. Just hope all is well. You want to join us Tuesday, talk some Panthers?" He's like, "Hell yeah!" I was like, "Okay, I'm with it." So, man, I feel good, man, that you're here. So get yourself comfortable in Pooh's seat.
I thought you was reaching out so we could talk about the greatest basketball game that's ever about to take place in the history of basketball.
We're gonna talk about that too. I knew that was gonna come naturally. But,
okay.
But at the time of the intro, we didn't know that it was gonna happen. We figured it would, but we wasn't sure. But yeah, it's gonna happen.
No doubt.
Yeah, man. Well, welcome back again, man. Shout out to Pooh. We'll see you next week, brother. But yeah, you ain't here. So as Mike Tomlin would say, we will only address the people that are here in this locker room right now. We'll worry about the others when they get back. So we'll see you next week, Pooh. But yeah, so really quick, we're gonna jump into it. But I want to address, like we always do, our just a few little house cleaning stuff. First out, shout out to our patrons, man, on Patreon. Y'all do a really good job of supporting us and giving us some aspire to do this for you guys. So appreciate it. Anybody that wants to become a Patreon, visit www.patreon.com/GoDefyLife, and you can support Defy Life for less than your favorite meal at your favorite fast food restaurant. If you want to hear us, you can hear us at your favorite podcast platform for free 99, of course. And you can always find us, all of our Defy Life podcasts at defylightpods.com. You can find our written content at godefylife.com, where it's the granddaddy of them all. We got all of our sports articles, lifestyle, fashion, all that stuff, movie reviews, all that stuff. So check it out. And last but certainly not least, if you want to check out our branded apparel, go to defylifegear.com, and you can check out that new spring line that just dropped. And the rest of the spring line that's going to drop whenever Pooh get off his ass and release it, we'll get it out there. Because it's fire, we need to see it out there.
That spring line fire, man. The spring line is fire.
All right, ladies, pool season, beach season is approaching, so definitely go check out those new bathing suits out there, new bikinis. Fellas, check out the new tanks, the new tees. We got it all. So definitely check out Defy Life gear. Al, did I cover everything?
Yes, sir. Like a Chris Rock joke, because I know we about to get it in. I know we about to.
Oh man, yeah. Well, let's
Everybody
not.
loves Chris Rock joke.
Apparently not.
Not
everybody. So everybody's talking about it. Unless you living under a rock, buried under a rock, beside a rock, in Rockville, Mississippi, you have heard about the smack heard around the world. So Will Smith thinks, sometimes you say art imitates life. Well, life is imitating art. Will Smith thinks he's an actual action hero in real life. He's just slapping motherfuckers. But yeah, so everybody knows what happened. Al, what was your take on it? Let me get your take from all angles on your mind. What did you think about this situation?
So how I didn't watch it live. I actually saw it the next day in the morning as news coverage was starting to break. I'm still on my 33-year boycott of award shows. They just not for black folks. I don't watch them. So The fact is, the way I see it, and saw it then, and as more information comes out, I still see it the same way. Will Smith was wrong, and I can't see it any other way, as I participated in so many damn conversations over the last 2 days. But it's just one of them things where I believe in this concept of a civil society that we as a society agree on certain laws, and we're going to hold people accountable for them. I believe in that. And in the civil society that we live in, there's a thing called, there's two concepts that I can truly embrace. One is this idea of freedom of speech. I embrace that. You get to say what you want to say within certain parameters, right? And the other part is you don't get to touch me unless I touch you physically. Like, you don't get to put your hands on me unless I put my hands on you or you feel threatened. But I embrace that concept, because otherwise I could walk around and call somebody a Southerner, and he might not, or she might not appreciate that. And next thing I know, they're trying to smack me in the face over something that they got offended by. And so I feel like we need to have some certain standards to govern us, so that it ain't the wild, wild west out here. And it's just like, just smack a motherfucker day. We ain't having that. So there got to be some laws. And so my overall feeling is, while I can understand how he reacted the way he did and why he did, I can understand that. I can understand that people might even thought the joke was inappropriate. I can understand that he thought it was appropriate to defend his wife. I can understand all of that. And again, I'm not even saying that I might not have done the same thing, because I might have reacted emotionally like that, and in a certain circumstance responded in a inappropriate, violent way. I get that. That being said, there still has to be, for all of us, consequences when we decide to go and take it beyond the aggression. So to me, what I mean by that is, the only thing that was done to him were words were thrown his way. Well, you get to throw words back at me, and it's all good. Once you escalate it physically, that breaks the law of reciprocity, and now we got a problem. We got a problem. You don't get to do that in this world, in my world, the way I see it.
Right.
So the way I'm rocking is he was wrong. He was wrong, and it was weak. That was the other part. I don't think it was an act of strength. I think it was an act of weakness. And because to me, when you allow yourself to give in like that and respond in that way, it was weak. And to look at Chris Rock stay composed, poised, not react, because he would have been in the way I see the world. When somebody does put their hands on you and all you did was throw words at them, I'm all right with you defending yourself. So I would have given that person the go ahead to, oh, they smacked you? Yo, go right back at them. And he didn't. I don't know why. I'm going to assume because as a professional, he took his professional standing into consideration. I'm going to assume that. I don't know that because he hasn't said anything. But to me, that even is an amazing sign of strength, particularly as a man, to take into consideration your professional standing. Because to me, I translate professional standing into providing for your family. And so anytime a man is taking the act of providing into his family into consideration, that's strength, because the opposite to me is weak. When a man doesn't behave in that way, when they say, you know what, damn, providing for my family, I'm going to just swing on this cat, or I'm going to act this way. That's going to go against providing for my family. To me, that's a sign of weakness. So therefore, acting the opposite is strong. So that's where I'm at.
Okay. Understood. Money, what say you?
Man. See, you know what? As much as I appreciate my brother Al and his very inspiring and deep and thoughtful and very thought provoking and invoking wise commentary, I'm gonna have to dissent on that there. Only if they just have a dissenting voice. Because while I agree with everything Al just said, you
are contrarian, sir.
I am contrarian by nature, so I'm gonna have to go the other way on that, and I have some reasons why. Because while I'm not gonna condone per se what Will did, man, damn, I understand it. I understand how someone can say words to you, and it makes you want to physically react in a way against them. And the reason why I understand, because I have been in situations in my own life myself where people have said words to me, not even about me, but about people that I care about, and my and they did it like in a way, and I won't get into the story because it's like very personal, but had this individual said the thing that he said to me, and it just been me and him, maybe we had been in the bathroom or whatever, maybe I would not have reacted the way I did. But this thing that he said was incredibly hurtful, incredibly embarrassing to someone that was very close to me and that I cared dearly about. And everybody laughed. Everybody was pointing at me and kind of repeating the thing that he said about this person in my life. And I asked myself two questions, like one, how dare he feel the right to say that to me? Like I'm not gonna do anything about it. And two, how can I get all these motherfuckers to stop laughing and repeating what he just said? And so my mind said, go break his jaw. Go smash his face. Now, granted, I was a much younger man. I wasn't even a man. I was in high school. And and his kid was kind of from the same neighborhood, so he knew some things about my life and my family, and so he said those things in school, and yeah, and it just wasn't flattering. It wasn't And the only way that I felt like I could defend this person's honor and kind of get some of that, get some of that spotlight off of that situation is to make him feel physically the pain that I was feeling at that moment. And I didn't want to respond with words. I wanted to hurt him. So I said that to say that I do believe that there are some situations, not all, because I do agree with Al said. And I got suspended from school. But before I decided to go break his jaw, I had said, "Oh, I'm about to get suspended from school because I'm about to go break his jaw." And so my also to what you said is, so when you do decide to step into the Wild Wild West a little bit, you got to be aware that there's consequences, and you got to be willing to face those consequences. So I feel like, I don't know Will, I've never, whatever, but I feel like he thought this is a very embarrassing. We don't know what type of conversations that they have. His wife may have just told him, "Hey, like this thing with my hair, this thing like I don't feel like a woman. I don't feel beautiful. I don't feel loved. I don't feel sexy. I don't." And they could have just had that conversation in the car, and he had to say, "Babe, hey, like you are the most beautiful woman on the planet. Like I adore you. I would." He may have just had to support her, just had to reiterate that she's beautiful, that she's wanted, that she's heard, and that she's felt. And for him to step into the building and hear that, so it may have been a trigger. I mean, so we don't know. But I will say, while I don't condone his actions, because I have been in that situation and I have physically struck out, I completely understand.
Can I just say one quick thing?
Yeah.
I will say, Money, your response got me thinking about that. I'd never have given him credit for, he possibly might have thought it through. You know what I mean? Like I've always, from when I seen this, I just assumed he didn't. But hearing how you just shared what happened with you, that like that to me does speak to a certain amount of strength. If you are saying, you know what, I'm willing to give whatever, I'm willing to handle the consequences because this matters to me. And I'm always assuming that he's not going through that thought process when I'm referring to him as weak and blah, 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 blah. So I appreciate you offering that contrarian perspective because it got me thinking a little differently.
No doubt, for sure.
Well,
you just can't look, and where we're from, you just can't, honestly, you just can't say whatever. You just can't say whatever you want to say. And sometimes when you just say whatever you want to say, sometimes there are consequences, especially where we're from. So, that's how I feel.
No,
go ahead.
No.
No, I'm just going to be, I guess, contrarian squared, because I guess now that Al, you rethinking it, fuck all that. I just don't get it. For one, like I get it, like you say, Money, where we from, I get that, but it wasn't even that harsh. It was a joke, and when you sitting in front of a comedian in the front row, chances are you gonna get picked on, especially when you see 3 other people just got picked on. Don't be shocked when it's you, and you laughing at everybody else when they get picked on. Now you want to fight. So, for one, I agree with you, Al, in your first statement. That shit is weak. Secondly, you don't laugh at the joke and then look at your wife and see she's upset and now you want to defend her. Right? So, for one, it's not your natural reaction to protect your wife. It was your natural reaction to join in on the picking. You don't, to me, as a man, you don't get to, renege on joining in on the fun and then say, oh. So to me, it just screams insecurity. And Money, you mentioned they may have just had a discussion about her not feeling. I get that, about the way she's feeling and all of her emotions. They may have, but they also may have had a discussion about, hey, you don't protect me. I don't feel protected. You don't fulfill me. And he felt like he had to make a grand gesture to prove her wrong. They could have had that conversation. Yeah, because that's what it screamed. Yeah, that's what it screamed to me. Like, oh, this is my opportunity to prove to my wife that I will protect her in any situation, and I will make myself look crazy just to protect her. That's what it screams to me.
And let me just be clear, Jay. I am only rethinking the comment about him being weak for his just flat out reaction, not allowing for the possibility that maybe he did think it through and say, you know what, even though I joined in, how she feels matters enough for me to. And again, I still think the choice was wrong.
Right.
Let me be clear about that.
Yeah.
I still think his choice, his reaction was wrong. I just ain't never thought, damn, maybe he chose that. Maybe he actually went through a thinking process and came up with that as the choice. That's
right. And I get it. Yeah. Otherwise, I get it. Otherwise I wouldn't have the title of Contrarian Squared, so it didn't fit. So, right. But
right.
But I'm not denying that he didn't think it through. I think it was totally calculated, but for other reasons, like I just said, and also we all know people who will instigate or start something in the right situation with the right person. Will knew it's Chris Rock at the Oscars. The whole world is watching. Security everywhere. That man ain't gonna fight you on stage.
Right.
He knows that.
I would have, but
that's what right.
The host of
right, exactly. And that's what I'm getting at as well, is because if it was Mike Epps, if it was Hurricane, if it was Bruce, he wouldn't have slapped him. Or if it was Jerry Seinfeld, he wouldn't have slapped him. He knew the right person to fuck with at the right situation. He knew Chris Rock would not fight him on stage. And so to me, like Al said, that's weak and it's cowardice because, and if you're going to slap, first of all, if you're going to protect your wife and you want to be a tough guy, just punch me. Don't slap me. Like, you going to slap me on stage? Like, no, don't do that. Don't slap me. Like, if you're going to fight, if you're going to start this, like, finish me off. Make sure that the punch landed better than the joke. And
then the slap was weak.
Right, and it was weak. Right.
His form was crazy. But
right. And then you turn around, like, stand there. Let me, like, if you're going to have consequences, be there to face them. Don't turn around and go back to your seat. And then lastly, I'll say this. For one, it screams so much privilege by Will Smith. Because how you get to assault somebody on national TV, on international TV, and go back and sit in your seat and nobody does anything. Like, you ain't gonna get consequences because you knew you messing with the right dude in the right situation. You knew Chris Rock was not gonna press charges against you. He's not gonna sue you. He's not gonna fight you. You knew that was the perfect situation to look like a tough guy in front of your wife. And I always say, in most situations, that is the woman's. That's why men have women in their lives, to stop us from doing stupid shit. And like I said, I'm as big a Will Smith fan as anybody. But I don't know him personally. I don't know much about their marriage other than what they decide to share. And she has shared in the past that, stuff that made him feel, I'm sure, less than a man. She's taken actions that made him feel like less than a man. So I'm sure there's some insecurity there with him. But you don't get to, regardless of who you are, you don't get to assault somebody where everybody can see it and then just go sit back down like it ain't no price to pay. Like, I lost a lot of respect for Will because, the wrong woman in that situation will allow you to do stupid shit. And that's exactly what happened.
Well, maybe she wasn't aware of what he was about to do. That's kind of so I will speak to this one thing.
Well, let me rebut to that real quick. If a dude made a joke about Ladine, and I got up to go fight this dude, or if I was walking towards him upstage, with my chest out, my arms swinging George Jefferson style, the first thing Ladine gonna say, man, if you don't sit your ass down, she gonna come get me. She ain't gonna sit back and watch me assault somebody on that. Like, that's stupid. She gonna watch me make the stupid act and then let me sit down right beside her. Then if I got away with it, she would have pulled my arm and walked me out of that room.
Okay, but here's the thing: you still forgetting because you thinking like Jay. You got to think this Will and Jada. It's probably not. It's probably unfathomable to her that Will about to go smack this dude. Like they're at the Oscars. They're on international TV. It's millions of people watching this, and like the Oscars typically don't even fuck with black people. So like it probably didn't even cross her mind that Will getting up to go smack him. It's probably the last thing on her. Maybe she thought, Will going to go get the mic and tell a joke, or Will going, whatever.
What did
Whatever
she
the
do
case may be.
afterwards? Man?
But
What did she do after she realized, he just smacked somebody on national TV?
I don't know. I guess she just sat there. She said she
Right.
sat there.
Wrong
But
woman, wrong
was
situation.
I wanted to speak to, Will Smith is, so this ain't, you're exactly right. Will Smith is we can't even fathom how privileged Will Smith is. He's an extremely, he's multicultural, multi-loved by millions and millions and millions of people. And like, I seen this dude fly a helicopter from his house and land it on like, oh shit, what did he want? The London Bridge or the Leaning Tower of Pisa or some shit. Like he like landed his helicopter on like one of the like wonders of the world or something crazy, like the Notre Dame or some shit. And then like his privilege is like he's got a series on Netflix where they just like let him do. They just let him do shit. Like he's been to the bottom of the ocean and like in these like special submarines, and he's like in these caves, and like Will Smith is an extremely privileged individual, and so yeah, for sure, like he definitely acted out of that privilege. So I just wanted to speak to that, some of that privilege for a second. Like it's like I can't even imagine what it is to be as privileged as Will Smith.
Right. But and again, like that's what bothers me the most, is because I know deep down in my soul that if it, were Bill Burr or Jerry Seinfeld on one end of the spectrum, or if it were, Mike Epps or Hurricane on the other end of the spectrum, he wouldn't have done it. He met somebody right in the middle of the spectrum who was his equal as far as life goes, as far as winning in life goes, and as far as, Chris Rock wasn't even violent in New Jack City. So we know that he picked on the right. Like it just screams, it's just weak. And that's the best word that I've heard tonight is from what Al said. It's weak. And it just screams insecurity to me. Well,
the word that I want to make my last comment is the word of reciprocity. And so, when Money was making his comments, he said that, he understands that he can't say, people got to remember they can't say whatever they want everywhere, right? And I respect that and appreciate that tension of when we say, we live in this society where freedom of speech is part of our rights, but we know that, in certain rooms, it ain't always that way, right? People, you got to watch what you say, and again, be prepared for the consequence. Yeah. But the word that sticks in my mind though is reciprocity, and it's been one of them words that I've been focused on really since this social justice, police brutality thing been on the news and been watching cases, and so as the more I watch cases and they talk about excessive force and how they trying to come at these cops, it is based on this concept of reciprocity. Like, how you respond has to be somehow relative to how this person is behaving. And you don't just get to yoke somebody up just because you feel like it. Even if what they was doing was inappropriate, if their inappropriateness doesn't justify your reaction, it's a problem. And we're going to condemn it and hold you accountable that you overreacted. It was not you broke the law of reciprocity. And so to hear that people gave this dude a standing ovation that night,
he should have got booed.
Like the same people who would be screaming for social justice in another environment and scream about reciprocity, but you're going to sit there and watch a black man get smacked in the face because of something he said and give the aggressor a standing ovation?
Right.
It's embarrassing to me. And again, I appreciate that understanding of reciprocity when it comes to force is I get, I just that's something we gotta learn more of and hold people accountable to that. Otherwise, again, it's the wild, wild west.
Right. Exactly. But I'm sure we could talk all night about this. But
I've been
not
talking for 2 days.
right. And this is exactly why I have not engaged in any conversation about it until now, because I knew, just me personally, I'd be exhausted of it. So
Right.
tonight's enough. I ain't giving Will Smith no more of my time tonight.
I'm good with that.
Yeah. But yeah, speaking of men, grown ass men who can't seem to get it right on Sundays, let's talk about the Carolina Panthers front office. Money, you are a resident, proud Carolina Panthers fan. So, as we mentioned last week, we will be talking to different representatives of different NFL franchises throughout this offseason, quote unquote offseason, as we mentioned, leading up to the draft and following the draft. But yeah, today we're going to touch on your beloved Carolina Panthers. In a nutshell, what are your thoughts so far on the Panthers offseason? And after that, we will get into what you expect moving forward.
So this actually may surprise you. Now, I don't know if you are very familiar with my feelings about this coaching staff, but I don't love it. And, I'm going to need for, this coaching staff to give me some sort of progress, right? So, but having said that, that's why I said my answer may surprise you. I actually think we've had a pretty strong offseason. I was reading some outlet and it kind of ranked us as having like a top 6 offseason so far, and that's even despite not winning the Deshaun Watson sweepstakes. I would have loved to see what package they had put together to get Deshaun, but so I guess the highlight I want to start with is just us not getting Deshaun Watson and kind of what we've done around that, because we actually cleared up a lot of cap space and anticipation of trying to bring him in, and that didn't happen. But what they've done in the meantime, I feel like has been very solid. I feel like we could plug a decent quarterback into what we've got and have a pretty good shot at being a contender for our division, which also has a lot of changes. And so we're kind of quarterback starved. So I feel like we could be right there if we had a decent signal caller. But we've re-signed kind of some guys that were kind of key to us. We brought back Ian Thomas. The big re-signing was, in my opinion, probably cornerback Dante Jackson. We did bring back Justin Burst to play safety. Joe Horn will be back at the other corner. Deontay Foreman, Xavier Woods. So and Rashad Higgins. So I feel like we did bring in Morgan Fox. And we've been talking to a lot of offensive linemen because we got Bradley Bozeman. So I really feel like some of our big holes, especially in the offensive line, we bring in Austin Colbert, we bring in Bradley Bozeman, and hopefully Brady Christensen that we drafted last year can kind of solidify either at that guard position or tackle position, because they kind of project them as being able to play both. So I honestly think that minus Deshaun Watson, I think we've had a pretty solid offseason. Like, if there wasn't so much hype around trying to bring him in, if that wasn't a thing that happened, and I was just grading this out without ever hearing news of us having a chance to get him, I would have really given this about an A-. I really feel like the team we didn't give anybody any crazy contracts. We restructured McCaffrey, and we also extended DJ Moore. So we made a lot of big moves, and maybe there's smoke on the Baker Mayfield situation. I've heard some murmurs about Jimmy G, but I'm not really sure how strong those things are. I think we're in a good position at sixth in the draft. So overall, I have to give us a B plus, A minus, somewhere around there. And I'm actually very pleased with what we've done. I really just wish we would have fired Matt Rule. And every coach that got fired deserved to get fired got fired, except for Matt Rule. So I'm pretty. All the coaches that got fired actually have winning records against Matt Rule. So that.
That's funny.
So two things. This Matt Rule's been there, 2 years?
This is his third year, yeah.
This will be his third year, right. So what are your thoughts on, because I have a firm stance on this, but what are your thoughts on firing a coach? Obviously, you feel okay about it, but after 2 years, you feel like that's long enough for him to have, constructed his plan and see it played out?
I need to see progress. Mm-hmm. So, our front office has been in disarray. I mean, what have we had? 8 starting quarterbacks in 2 years. We are actually paying quarterbacks that haven't been on our roster in a season and a half.
Right.
And then it's
you, Matt Moore.
Matt Moore, Teddy Bridgewater, Kyle Allen for a while. Like it was like our and so yeah. So we have a new GM, and I like him. I'm trying to. He's trying to overcome what some early incompetencies of Matt Rule have been, and I don't know if he can coach. His situational awareness, his game awareness, his ability to adjust to things that are happening on the field to us in real time. I just haven't seen it in 2 seasons. Mm-hmm. And I feel like the talent on this roster is actually pretty damn good. So back-to-back, 5-win seasons is unacceptable for the talent on this roster.
Well, I'll rebut that with this, because because we all know, as and this is coming from somebody who's actually looking forward to Mitchell Trubisky. In the NFL, I feel, and I think a lot of people feel this way, would agree, I don't care how good your roster is. If you don't have a quarterback, you don't have a chance. And how is that the coach's fault when the front office traded for Sam Darnold? The front office took up his fifth year extension, and I mean, granted, 4 other teams did too, but they missed out on Deshaun Watson, and you're staring in the face of Sam Darnold or possibly a rookie starting at quarterback, or God forbid, a retread Baker Mayfield. How is that the coach's fault?
Because some of that's the coach's fault, because our coach is a really big advocate of these quarterbacks. He was a big advocate for Sam Darnold. Mm-hmm. And I what's happening now is like some of that personnel decision making is being, going back a little bit on the front office, mm-hmm. but Rule makes a lot of these decisions.
Okay.
He's, watching his interviews about some of his evaluation processes, for, players that ended up having amazing seasons. For instance, the tackle out of Oregon, Armstead, not Armstead, I can't remember his name. We didn't evaluate him correctly. I think he went on to have like a Pro Bowl year. Or the guy from out of Northwestern, like Slater, also had a really great year. And we so it's more than just his inability to make adjustments. Like I just need to see better decision making from him that makes me feel like we're making progress. We had a worse season statistically last year than we did the year before, with much better players. Mm-hmm. And so that is coaching. Mm-hmm. Not being able to adjust to game time situations is coaching. And not being able to scheme guys in a way that can put them in advantageous situations to help your team be better and win games is coaching. Bringing in Joe Brady, I just felt like that was a mistake. And we dealt with that for 2 years. So it's, hopefully I know he's swinging for the fences because he has to, because if he doesn't win this season, he'll be fired. And so it's, and a lot of veterans, a lot of guys that were here left here because they weren't really sure about him. So hopefully, typically I say give the guy a chance. Let him come in here. Let him get his scheme in. Let him get his plan in. Let him run his stuff. Let's see what happens. But I think there was some outgoing quarterback. Teddy Bridgewater had said he had raised some questions about how the team practices. They don't practice situational football. They don't practice red zone football. They don't. So So all of those things tie back into coaching. It's more than just the guys that the front office gives them. Some of that ties in directly to how he runs the ship.
I get that. At the end of the day, unless you Bill Belichick or Bill Parcells, the GM has the final say. So I just don't think it's fair to say Matt Rule sucks, but I like the GM because he brought back Dante Jackson. Like
the GM's only been here. The GM's only been here a season.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So I get to this. This is what I'm getting at. Because your owner is a former minority owner of the Steelers, right?
Right.
And there's a way to build culture. And Al can speak to this too. As much mess as people talk about Jerry Jones, there's one thing he will do is give coaches a chance, even if the fans think, this coach has been here 2 years too long. Get him out of here. He sucks. He will give that man a chance to build out his plan. And that's how you build a culture. And that's how you keep from churning in and churning out coaches and quarterbacks. And you actually have your foundation to build on, whether good or bad. Because what happens is, what's going to happen if this continues to happen, you keep firing coaches and every 2 years and moving on from quarterbacks year after year after year, nobody's going to want to it's not going to be a coaching destination, which Carolina is right now, but they're in jeopardy of risking that if they keep having turnover at head coach, one. And two, if you don't have a foundation at quarterback and I don't know what the plan is. So that's what I'm saying. At the end of the day, those are front office decisions because Matt Rule, I don't think he has the power to influence the final say. So that's what I'm getting at. I like it. To me, when Carolina has a good foundation and they are a destination for good head coaches, not just somewhere where Hugh Jackson takes his final shot at being a head coach, or I don't know, Rich Kotite comes out of retirement to coach the Panthers.
Right.
And so that's what I'm just afraid of them being in danger of is, making those final decisions in the front office. Because we all know, and I agree that, the first shoe that's going to drop is the head coach. But then when the head coach leaves and it's the same situation with a new head coach and you're still 5-11, at what point are we going to start looking at that general manager in the front office as far as the decisions they're making? Because college All-Americans when they don't become all pros, it's somebody's problem.
So I hear you, and I respect what you're saying, but I don't think that's the culture that we have here. In our brief existence, I think we're 30 years old now, but we've only had 5 head coaches. So, we're not a coaching carousel. We just when we find our guy, that's who we rock with. And so I'm not trying to give Rule a short leash. It's just with he took over a team that had historically been pretty damn good. And so we would like to be pretty good. So yeah, so I don't if like maybe 6 wins, maybe 7 wins. You know, back-to-back 5-win seasons is not that's not acceptable, and unfortunately, he's the coach. So like I gotta blame somebody, and so he's who I'm gonna blame. Some of that blame does go to Tepper, but you know he owns the team, so you know.
Yeah, but at some point, like same thing with Jerry Jones, people and Al Davis. Like at some point, the owner has to be like, and in any business, if you can't do the job correctly, you better hire somebody who can, right?
Right.
And so with him making the personnel decisions, at what point do you hire somebody who's better at it? Like, and that's what I'm like, I agree with you. Carolina does not have a reputation and a culture that churns in coaches. They don't have a bad culture. In that 30 years, y'all have managed to develop a damn good culture. I'm just saying, if you fire Matt Rule, and then you find another guy who doesn't quite cut it, you're going to fire him in 2 years, you're going to become Cleveland before you know it. Then the same span of time that you became one of the most stable organizations in the NFL, it can change pretty quickly if you start firing people every 2 years.
I would just like to see progress, and I should see some progress.
Right.
This is, and we're not too impatient, but you know we would like to see some progress. There are many fans, and we know that fans are fickle. Fans will clamor for the firing of a coach. I am not one of those fans. However, my patience is wearing thin.
I get it. Well, I just believe in giving, especially in the NFL, where because you're literally judged on your win-loss record, and as we know, that's not always the sign of progress is your win-loss record, but that's what everybody judges you off of, right? But I just think you're putting some. If you don't give, as Bill Parcells will say, if you don't give him the groceries, how you expect him to cook? Right, so you at least got to give that man a quarterback. Like you don't bring. I mean, as much as I loved, and I'm sure a lot of Panthers fans loved to, like sentimentally, to see Cam Newton come back. Like that's like it just adds to the carousel. Like at some point, you got to give that man, especially with the reputation that Matt Rule came in with as an offensive college coach. You don't think it's fair to give him a franchise quarterback to work with instead of making him stick with Sam Darnold and then when it doesn't work, you say, well, we didn't see progress, so you got to go.
That's who we've, that's who Matt wanted to bring in. I don't know what else to say. That's who Matt wanted. Right. Matt wanted Darnold.
All right, so rank these options for me. Matt as your starting quarterback next year. Rank these in every rather best to worst or worst to best, however you see fit. Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield, Cam Newton, P.J. Walker, or Malik Willis. Or Jimmy Garoppolo. So what's that? 6 names. All right.
Let me go with a little nostalgia. So I'll say Cam Newton.
We starting from
number one, or you starting from the bottom?
I'll say I'm starting from the top.
Okay.
Son.
I'll say Cam Newton.
Let me stop.
Crazy.
I'll say Cam Newton.
In that case, Jake Delhomme. No, I'm just kidding.
No. I'll say Cam Newton. Malik Willis. Baker Mayfield. Garoppolo. Darnold and PJ.
Okay.
Can I offer me a ranking?
Go ahead.
for the for the other Carolina fans out there who is like, what the hell is he drinking?
They know what I'm drinking because they fans. They know.
Drinking that canned Kool-Aid. That
They know.
what
They know.
flavor is that? That red Kool-Aid? I'm
They know
just
what I'm
saying,
drinking.
bro.
This was a dead franchise after week 6,
That's true.
and this was a dead franchise. There was no life in this city when they said that they are re-signing Cam Newton. This city exploded with.
Right.
How many wins did y'all get?
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought we was talking about professional football.
Doesn't matter. Here's the thing. The kid has the intangibles and the leadership ability to lead a team.
Make him a coach.
Better than any of those other guys.
I get
Make him
that.
your coach.
I think that he can still play football. Now what I would like to see if they do and Cam Newton is an option on the table. I kind of prefer us to go with in a new direction, but if you ask me, can we bring a veteran in to be the starter while we groom a rookie? I'm gonna ask for that veteran to be Cam, because I think Cam can still play ball and he can groom someone to come in and learn the job and know how to play. What I would like is for him to have an off season with the team, a training camp with the team, and so he can learn the offense, not bring him in week 10 with an offense he's never seen and say, okay, let's go play ball because we don't have a choice.
Right.
So
Is Cam in another league where he's performing that you're watching? Because I'm wondering, what are you basing your thought that he can still play football off of?
I mean, I watched him here last year.
Okay.
I watched him here last year, and I feel like that what I saw from him and from this team was life and some progress.
You know what this reminds me of? You know what this, and I'm glad you're on the show, Money, because your ears should be burning of me screaming Kemba Walker and Money this past season as Kemba has been on the Knicks. I'm having flashbacks to Money falling in love with Kemba and on the show. And when Kemba was signed, you came to mind initially. I'm like, yeah, we got Kemba, man. Money used to talk about how good he hooping and everything. Kemba on the Knicks now. That's what's up. I'm feeling good about the Knicks. This is what this conversation is reminding me of.
Right.
Yeah.
But but that was 6 years ago.
I know, but I guess I
so-
thought he could still play, kind of
Nah.
like Cam's could still play.
Nah, Kemba's got those injuries are too, and he can still play in spurts, but he's no longer going to lead a team in the way
Are we
that
talking about Cam now or Kemba?
No, we're talking about Kemba specifically. He's no longer going to lead a team in the way that Kemba could when 5 years ago. And the same thing is true for Cam. Like he's not the same guy but okay, so of the choices Jimmy, his shoulder's completely shot and he's never been that good of a quarterback in the first place. So I would put Cam over him. Baker Mayfield's super immature, and I'm not really sure if he's a good leader and how he's recovered from his injury. I'm not really sure how Cam's recovered from his injury, but what I do know about Cam is everyone respects him as soon as he walks in the room. He has the love of the locker room, he has the love of the city, and that coaching staff, and he knows how to get people in the huddle and get them calmed down and to play some ball. So I'm talking a lot about Cam's intangibles, more so than like the other guys that I was offered in his place. I think he's definitely better than Sam Darnold and PJ Walker, even hurt. Those guys are horrible, and so.
What just really because I'm curious, what are PJ Walker's like what are his negatives?
He doesn't see the field.
Okay, I'm just asking really because I've never really watched him play like that.
Yeah, he's he's erratic. He's very erratic. He doesn't see the field. And he puts the ball in the. He's like, remember watching? Did you ever watch Kyle Allen when he was our quarterback?
Mm-hmm.
And he had like those 29 turnovers in like that 7-game span or something crazy.
Yeah.
PJ Walker is basically like that. Like he'll have a couple good drives, and then here come the fumbles, here come the picks, and he just takes you out of the game. Like you just have no chance to win.
Gotcha.
So I think, and he doesn't have a lot of arm strength either. Okay. So he's basically like a black version of our version of Kyle Allen, because Kyle Allen actually has gotten better in the last couple of seasons, but when he was with us, he was a turnover machine. And so PJ Walker's kind of that. Sam Darnold's got a little bit more arm strength, but he's actually the exact same way. He doesn't see the field. He doesn't throw guys open, and he puts the ball in harm's way a lot.
And he folds under pressure.
And he definitely folds under pressure. So so for the guys I was given, I'm going to take Cam and Malik Willis over those other guys every time.
Right.
So are you hoping that they pick him in the draft? Like, would that be a good move as a fan or a Panther fan?
I really like Malik Willis. I like Pickett as well. And we're vetting all those guys. But from everything that Malik Willis blew it away at his pro day, and I'm super excited. Even if we don't get him, I'm just super excited to see him play. I also watched Sam Howell for 3 years. I'm very partial to him. He can make every throw, and he's a great leader. I'm not sure why he's kind of sliding down a little bit. I don't know if he had a not such a great combine, but I hear he did great at his pro day. So, but I like Sam Howell as well, and I like Cody Pickett as well. So I would be okay with either one of those guys. I guess we got to get them in here, and they're all interviewing. They've all been invited to come and meet with the team, have dinner with the team, and so they'll take them through their evaluation process and decide who best fits the organization. But I would be pretty happy with either of those guys, really.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think Malik Willis gets past y'all at 6. I don't think he does. For all the Steelers,
do you think he gets past Houston?
Right, that's what I'm saying. I think 6 is the furthest he goes. Detroit's an option, Houston's an option, and then I think 6 is his floor. But yeah, I don't know if he makes it to the Panthers, but I think he won't get past you. So for all the Steelers fans hoping that Malik Willis is going to last to 20, give it up. It ain't happening.
Well, the Jet fan and the Wheeler Dealer fan in me is like, I would put our number 4 pick. I might be hollering at the Panthers then as a if you really want Malik, are you willing to come up to 4 for Malik?
Right.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, put that pick on Front Street.
Yeah, and I think Malik Willis is going to determine. There's always one pick in the top 5 or top 10. That
this could get interesting.
Right, it shakes up the first round. So,
and it's funny you said Detroit, Jay, because I did see a mock recently that had Malik going number 1. I was like,
oh wow.
No, not number 1. Who's
number
2?
2?
Number 1 is number 2.
Jacksonville, right?
Jacksonville,
not Jacksonville. Not Jacksonville. Detroit.
Right. Yeah, but I mean, it could be, wow. There could be a trade up to number 1, and somebody want to get ahead of Detroit. But yeah, so Money, who do you think? And I've asked, we asked everybody this when we talk about their team. First, we want to know your top 3 needs heading into the draft.
I still think we need a franchise tackle. Mm-hmm. But we're not going to be able to get one of those in this draft. But that is a need.
So what was and then I hate to cut you off, but you mentioned tackle. And who's slated to start at left tackle for y'all now? Is it Taylor Moton?
Taylor Moton's going to be right tackle, Brady Christensen or Bozeman.
Okay. So whatever happened, because I just looked up one day and he was gone. I knew he was promising. What happened? What was the issue with Little? Was it Greg Little?
Yeah, I think we traded Greg Little.
Yeah, I know y'all. That's what I'm saying. I looked up and he was gone. He wasn't there no more. Like, was he that bad?
You know what? I kept hearing good things about him in camps and things. He just couldn't break the starting lineup, and then he got hurt a couple times.
Okay.
And then the next thing I know, he was gone.
Yeah, that's what
I thought he had a lot of promise. He graded out really highly, and I always, like I said, I always heard good things about him. But he was hurt. He did get hurt a couple times.
Okay.
Trying to make that starting lineup, and I guess they saw some trade value in him. So
Okay.
I don't even know where we trade him to. Really, to be honest.
Yeah, I forgot. But yeah, I just always wondered what happened to him. Okay, yeah. So franchise tackle. What are the other two? Sorry.
Since we didn't bring back Hassan Reddick, I think we need a dominant pass rushing defensive end type of situation. Even though Reddick didn't really play the run a lot, but God, he can get to the quarterback. And I would say, well, actually, no. Let me start over. No, because actually, I don't feel like I'm gonna go franchise tackle, franchise quarterback, and then defensive end.
Okay.
Because honestly, like, we are really solid on defense. We just, if we could put some drives together. I mean, God, like last year, I'm sure I don't know how much of us you watched, but there were literally, I would count them. We would go like 9 series without a first down, 7 series in a row without a first down, 8 series in a row without a first down. Like it was horrible, especially after halftime. It was. So if we could keep some drives going, our defense can actually be really good. I mean, there was a stretch where we were the number 1 defense in the league. Going into like that Dallas game, actually, we were the number 1 D in the league, most sacks, most turnovers, and we just can't put drives together enough to keep those guys off the field. Right. And remember, we had a draft in a row where all we drafted was defense. Yeah. And so that is so. I have wanted to give Rule a chance to see what that can look like.
Right. And it's funny, like, as much like it's kind of a bittersweet thing having as the Steelers had Ben Roethlisberger come back for one last run, and it's good because you're going to be able to sustain drives, like you said, and at least put together a string of first downs and keep the defense off the field from the neck up. But it's from the neck down where they can't do the things that they used to be able to do anymore. That's just so freaking painful to watch. Because especially in today's NFL, if you can't move, if you don't have a mobile quarterback, or if you have somebody who's no longer the best athlete on the field, it limits you and it hamstrings you so much on offense that you can't run your entire offense. It's one thing if Christian McCaffrey's out, you're a different offense. You're different on all. You can't, But if you don't have a quarterback, it's a different offense. You get what I'm saying? Like you can't do everything. So that's the only concern I have. And I get what you're saying about Cam. Like his intangibles you're right, they're rock solid. He's the most respected man probably in the history of that franchise outside of Sam Mills. But it's the limitations you see physically that you're like, man, maybe it's just time to move on because this shit is painful. That's what gets you. And then, like so many times last year with Roethlisberger, I was just like, man, like the reads, the throws, he makes that, that Mason Rudolph ain't gonna be able to make. But then you see him like 10 years ago, he'd be shrugging off this defensive tackle and breaking out of sacks. Mm-hmm. Now it's just like he's just like cowering and just going down before they even touch him because he knows his body ain't up to it no more. So that's the painful thing to watch, man. But it's a trade-off. You bring back Cam for those other reasons, and if they do, and again for the city, for the fans, it's so much nostalgia there that the city's going to be electric. just because Cam's there, at least for a couple weeks. They're going to wait and see how it goes, but everybody's going to be excited. But then you see just the physical limitations, and you're like, damn, Malik Willis will look really good in Panther blue right now.
Oh no! I want Cam to usher in the Malik Willis era. I don't want Cam to come be a quarterback. I just want him to.
Right, that's what I'm saying. But even knowing that, even if it's for 6 weeks, the first 6 weeks, there's gonna be 3 of them when you like just put Malik in.
I'm with that. But what I don't want is to go into training camp with Sam Darnold as a starter, as it is at this exact moment.
Yeah. Right.
Give me Cam broken. Bring me all of that.
Okay.
More.
All right. So in the draft, who would be, realistically speaking, like, and I guess, top 6, it'd probably be anybody. But realistically speaking, who would be the top 3 guys on your wish list?
Ooh. Oh my goodness. And I'm not thinking about our needs.
Nah, best player. I mean, however you want. If you were the GM, if you're taking best player available or best player at a position of need, however you see it, who the 3 guys on your wish list, realistically speaking, like, and it ain't like you picking 30th and you're like, yeah, I want Aiden Hutchinson. So
Right.
Yeah.
Man, what my wish list, man, I would have to say, man, of course Hutchinson. That's tough. Hutchinson, because I think he's going to be a franchise staple. I also like Thibodeau out of Oregon.
Yeah.
And I got to see a lot of
I think I know
Iquandu out of NC State, man.
See the truth?
He gets on your damn nerves because you can't get around him, you can't move him.
Okay.
Yes. The short answer is he the truth? Yes.
Yeah, and he is, when I say nasty, like he's nasty skill, but his demeanor, his play style is just nasty. Like, he's a tone setter. Like, he plays with a defensive lineman mentality.
I've seen some mocks having the Jets pick him.
My goodness, you guys are in for a treat if you do. My goodness,
dude is sick. So yeah,
he is mean, bro. You don't have to worry about anybody coming around the other side. Right. When he's on the field, I mean, and he's smart. He knows the game. He knows all his keys. He did a lot for NC State, man, and they ended up being the team that they were. A lot of that attributed to him.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's a hell of a 3. So let's say, I'm trying to think of. Anyway, let's say let's say Pittsburgh calls and says, "Hey, we want to trade up to 6. We want Willis. What do you think it would take for a team willing to move up that far for the Panthers to move out of that spot and pick up extra picks?"
Definitely a first round next year, probably a second next year, or some combination of picks and players that include that a first next year, a second next year, and then because remember we traded all of our picks we only have like 3 draft picks, so Darnold costs us some draft capital here, and then we also traded for C.J. Henderson, and I think we gave up like a 4th for him. So we have a first rounder, and then we have like a 4th rounder that we got from trading back last year, and like a 5th rounder. So we don't have a lot of draft capital. So maybe a second or a third in this year's draft with a combination of some early picks in next year's draft will get you up to 6.
Okay. Oh, all right. Well, our listener questions happen to fall right in line with this conversation. So Jose from Winston-Salem wants to know for this from you guys. In the NFL draft, are early picks an overrated commodity? So we've seen the Rams take a F them picks, kind of a mindset, and it's paid off for them. We've seen it in the past where teams have done that and it hasn't paid off, like trading your entire draft for Ricky Williams. That didn't quite pay off. But yeah, Al, you first. Are early picks in the draft an overrated commodity, or would you prefer to have proven players?
I think it's not. I wouldn't say they're overrated, overvalued. Mm-hmm. They have their place. So do great talent, established. But I think it so much depends on the talent coming out of the college. I think so much depends on where you are in your rebuild or established. Mm-hmm. Are you a winning team where you don't really need some young talent? That one piece like a Stafford might make that difference. Mm-hmm. So I think it all depends, but I would never say they're overvalued, because that's where you have, to me, the greatest chance to find the greatest talent.
Oh, okay. Money, what say you?
I agree completely with Al. I think that draft picks are how you rejuvenate especially in the age of the salary cap. They're how you rejuvenate your franchise, how you keep your franchise young, how you can fit a good mix of good young players into your more dominant veterans that make a ton of money. Like you have to have a good blend of those in order to compete. So I'm never gonna say that they're overvalued, because you're going to need them for your franchise, but it mostly depends on, and Al hit it right on the head, depends on where you are as a franchise. If you're a player away, if you've been to the cusp of the NFC or AFC championship game and you're there, you just can't figure out what it is going to take you over the hump, then yeah, fuck them picks. Right. Trade them picks for guys that's going to get you to over the hump of that game. Right. But if if you've spent, back-to-back seasons at 5-12 and 5-13 or whatever, like we have, then you can't so much say. And the crazy thing is, that's how we were on some fuck them picks last year, because we really thought Darnold was the guy. We actually thought we have a team that can compete, and we just need Sam Darnold to come in here and take us home.
Damn it! Why you put it that way? Yeah. Yeah, it makes a lot more sense when you look at your roster and we got Aaron Donald and Cooper Kupp, but we also have Jared Goff. Boy, that Matthew Stafford guy sure looks nice. That makes a lot more sense.
For sure. Yeah. For sure. So it just depends on where you are organizationally. If you're in rebuild mode, then that's probably not the wisest decision. Right. But if you're in cusp of championship mode, oh yeah, swing for the fences. New York Yankees, that shit, baby.
Right.
Because think, like where the Rams were last year, even if they had got one of the young quarterbacks that came out last year with a high pick, like that wouldn't have helped their franchise. Nope. Like they were a team that needed a veteran quarterback who could step right in and play.
Yeah.
And people forget. You know what? I will say the casual fan just have no idea how good fucking Matt Stafford is.
Right.
Like he was on so many bad Detroit teams, and he still put up insane numbers. Mm-hmm. He never missed a game. Like Matt Stafford is the real deal.
Right.
And he just never got that love because he played in Detroit.
Right, exactly.
Had he been on a team with any moniker of talent, the wins that they did get, I mean, you could slap. Maybe they go 5 wins. You could slap 3.5 of those wins just to have them having Matt Stafford.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I said it. When they got him last year when we made our picks. I remember Terrence asking me when I picked the Rams to win the Super Bowl. He was asking me. I remember Terrence asking, with Stafford though. I was like, shit, that's the reason why I'm picking him.
Right.
Yeah. Stafford to me has always been one of those guys that just happened to be, I hate when people get judged by team goals based off their individual. They get judged individually based off team goals.
Right.
And he's always been, to me, one of the better quarterbacks in the league, just in the absolute worst situation.
Right.
But, yeah. Well, Money, appreciate it, man. We asked some tough questions, and you stood up to us. You didn't slap us in the face because we said something.
Keep my franchise out.
Right.
No doubt.
Oh, man.
You can't say nothing about Cam.
Right. Keep my quarterback name out your mouth. Oh, man. So no trivia this week. We're giving trivia a small hiatus. Al, do we have this week in sports history?
Man, yes, we do. Because, doing a little research, it was an interesting day in sports history.
Ah, okay.
So today is March 26th, right?
29th.
Good, because I got information on March 29th, not March 26th.
Okay, good.
No. So here's what happened that's pretty interesting for March 29th. 1984, Baltimore Colts, they moved to Indianapolis.
Oh, in the middle of the night.
That happened today.
Wow.
All right? That was pretty interesting.
All right.
1985, Wayne Gretzky, he broke his own NHL season record with 126 assists. Now, for those who don't understand how insane what I just said is, one, he broke his own record.
Right.
It shows you he's done this before. Two, I think in the NHL there's only 62 games. So we talking about homeboy was averaging 2 assists, he was helping 2 goals getting scored per game.
Yeah, these ain't like basketball assists.
NHL is 82 games. They mimic the NBA.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's still pretty impressive.
Yeah.
1994, Jimmy Johnson quit the Dallas Cowboys on the day.
Wow.
Right.
Wow.
We was on our way to doing something as a franchise, and Coach Jimmy Johnson quit the Cowboys.
Wow.
Here's something else that's interesting for some of our new folk. 1996, Cleveland Browns chose a new name, the Baltimore Ravens, on today. Okay, that's a lot of folks don't even remember that the Ravens used to be the Browns, and because now there's the Browns, right?
Right.
Interesting concept. The other thing happened,
And that the Browns didn't exist for about 8 years.
That is correct. That is correct. Shout out to Cleveland for advocating and getting their franchise back. Shout out to Cleveland.
And getting all their records and everything back to Cleveland instead of having them stay with the new Baltimore franchise. So they were able to keep all Jim Brown's records. And so shout out to Cleveland. We don't get to say that often.
One last thing happened today. 1999 in the 61st NCAA Men's Basketball Championship. The Connecticut Huskies, they beat Duke 77-74. Duke was on like a 32-plus game winning streak.
They was chanting, "We beat Duke." I'll never forget that shit.
Was that the Tate George game when he hit the big shot in the corner to beat Duke? I think it was.
I know that's Elamine
and
Hamilton on that squad.
Hamilton.
That was that one. Wow. Okay. Yeah.
The other ill thing about that match, that March Madness run, was the year that Gonzaga was introduced to many of us and made a run to like the Sweet 16.
Don't bring up Gonzaga, because then that's going to lead to Adam Morrison, and that's going to lead to Money getting shedding tears and slapping you. Money about to walk up on stage and slap you right now.
Don't be keep that Morrison out your mouth, bro. Keep that Morrison out your mouth. So this was an actual ill segment to just highlight some interesting things from our history that happened today. So
nice.
I was kind of feeling it.
Yeah, that was fun. Speaking of which, Money, I got 59 cents on it, man. We got a first of all, I didn't realize that this is the first time that Duke and Carolina have faced each other in the tournament.
That is correct.
Like, that just seems weird to me.
It does seem weird to me as well.
You think that at some point that they would have crossed paths in the tournament, but hey, it's the first for everything. So how confident are you, man?
Man, we got to be very confident, man.
Who you roll with? I'm saying who's the weak?
I'm a heel to the end, baby.
Okay.
Carolina Bay.
All right.
Gotcha.
And I'm a Duke fan because I'm a contrary. Everybody I know is Heels fans, so I had to be a Duke fan.
Right.
But it's funny, like I used to hate Duke back in the Leitner days, and then I started realizing everybody else was Carolina fans, so I started to become a Duke fan right around the time Elton Brand came along. You know, I got it's my big man bias, man.
Your similarities in your game. I can
Right.
see that.
Yeah. So it's my big man bias. So that's how I became a Duke fan. But yeah, man.
So just in case I decide to put a nickel on the game or not, let me just get Money's assessment. Is this your Cam Newton analysis when you put North Carolina? Or
Nah, man,
is this
so
like
first
based
of
on
all,
some objective assessments that they
First
really
of all,
got a shot?
my Cam Newton assessment was pretty accurate. Like I said,
Spot on.
Intangibles and all that. So, hold on now. I ain't.
I'm just throwing a couple of shots on your way out the door.
I really
I miss you, Money. Take that with you.
No, we got a good shot, man. Like we are not the same team that we were early in the season. That got blown out at Virginia Tech and Pittsburgh. Miami handled us too. Like we're not that same team. We had a kid transfer. He actually didn't transfer. Somebody in his family got sick. He went home. He left the program, and it shortened our rotation. And everybody understands what their job is now. And so for the past 13, 14 games, we've looked like a team that understands how to play ball. And so I really, really, really do think we have we went to Cameron and roasted Duke. The team has a good bit of confidence. We have a game plan to beat them. And Leaky Black is kind of the roach stopper. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. So
the road stopper.
yeah. So we'll see what happens, man. When you can hold that guy to 1 for 8 shooting, 1 for 9 shooting and a half, you're gonna give yourself a good chance to win. Especially if those other guys don't hit big shots. So everybody knows what they need to do. Everybody knows how they need to defend, and we'll see what happens. But all respect to Duke, they are a very, 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 very good team. And there's a lot on the line. Like Jason, we've never played each other in the NCAA tournament. It's like hatred personified. I don't even, I can't even understand how crazy that area is going right now. It's just biggest game in college basketball history, in my opinion.
Yeah, very big game. Like Money said, it's like even like they split this season, but these are two completely different teams than they were early in the season.
Yeah.
So all you really, as a fan, outside of being inside that locker room, all you really have to go off of is confidence and fanhood. Like, there's really nothing else because, like you said, you could throw everything else out the window. This is Duke Carolina is one of the few rivalries in sports that you can compare to, like, NFC East rivalries and Pittsburgh, Baltimore rivalry. Like, it's very few rivalries outside of college football, but it's very few rivalries in any basketball that compare to football rivalries. And when I say like compare to, I mean like the venom and the hatred and at the end of the day, respect.
Right.
So it's so much on the line here. And you can tell, and it's not just the game itself, but like we mentioned, it's the history of the game, the first time them meeting in the tournament, Coach K's last season,
Hubert Davis first season, we
Hubert
never
Davis,
had a black
right.
coach.
Exactly.
Yeah, like
Hubert Davis'
there's
first
a
season.
lot
Right.
a lot going down.
Yeah, and with Hubert Davis being a player in the meat of that rivalry when it was Coach K versus Coach Smith. Those were the days of that rivalry. And Hubert Davis being a player, amidst those times, like, it's huge, man. And at the end of the day, as much as you hate your rivals sometimes, like, it's fun to talk shit about the Browns when I'm a Steelers fan, because it's easy. Easy talk. It's fun, even though they just went to a Super Bowl, to talk about the Bengals historically. Because you not only are you better than them, but just so you hate them, but they can't fight back. As opposed to like this, there's a real chance of them sending you home, but all you can do is respect it. So you just enjoy it for what it is, talk a little shit if you win, and know that they go come and get you next year. So I'm looking forward to it, man. It's it ain't many, especially in today's college basketball, it ain't too many games you can get excited about, at least to me, that you can get excited about, because players are it's the one and done generation where you don't get attached to players like that anymore. So it's hard to get amped about, a game, but when it's at this magnitude, man, you just look forward to it. So I say all that to say, right. I say all that to say, fuck them Hills. We're going to take it.
Hey, what's the country music singer? That's the country music singer name that went to Carolina. He actually canceled his concerts.
Oh, wow.
For that weekend, because he said, me and my family are going to the Final Four. He said, it's the most selfish thing I've ever done in my career. Fans, please forgive me, but the Ticketmaster will refund you your money. I'm going to be at the Final Four.
Wow.
Y'all just going to have to be mad at me.
Right.
Yeah, so it's like it's that serious out here. Jay, I do have I have one question as a Duke fan and with a great sports mind that you have. If Duke loses to us, does Coach K actually retire?
Oh man, that's a good question.
Can he go out like that?
I think yes, and I think he, other than winning the national championship, I think he'd have it no other way than to go out to UNC.
Oh, okay. I like that perspective.
Yeah. So, of course, he wants to win it all, but if you got to go out, you go out to your arch rival. Let them kill you.
All right.
It's better than like going out to fucking Vanderbilt.
Or fucking Villanova.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Who retired you? The Hills retired me, dude. So, yeah. I think he does, man. I don't think he pulls a Tom Brady on us.
Okay. Because, it's a lot of speculation here for that. I'm sure you
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But,
wow, really?
Yeah. So, at the end of the day, I think, that man almost, 80 years old is just as black as his hair is. That don't tell the whole story.
Right.
So you take out that just for men, it'll tell the entire story.
Yeah.
It's time to go. Your body tells you when it's time to go, even as a coach.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I'm looking forward to it, man. It's even if, like I said, if it's the one and done generation, and we used to get so attached to, the Grant Hills and the Hubert Davis, like you just get so attached to the Eric Montroses, like they just become lore. But it's, like I say, in current sports, we root for jerseys now. It's pretty much what we do, regardless of who's in them. So, well, yeah, man. But that's all I got, man. Y'all got any parting shots before we go?
Nah, man, I enjoyed it. Good rapping it, chopping up with your money.
No doubt.
Hey, man, I definitely enjoyed it. Y'all continue to mess with my Defy Life fam, man. Check us out, defylifegear.com. Spring line is out. Man, I had a great time with y'all, man. Y'all already know what I'm going to say, man. You ain't rocking with Defy Life. What's your life about?
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah, y'all check us out next week. We will. Terrence will actually be on next week talking about the Philadelphia Eagles off season, or tentatively. He's trying to work out, make sure that the time works out. And if not, I'll be ready to talk about your Jets.
Not a problem. And I'll definitely be ready to talk shit about them Eagles.
Damn right, I know you will. Yeah, again, shout out the money, man. Welcome back. Pooh, we missed you. We'll see you next week. Until then, defy life.
Defy life.
Defy life.
Yeah.